All right, we're live. I know there's some people going to be tuning into this. Cole Robinson, Mark Bell. We're with Ken Berry's video that was just posted. Thoughts and first reaction after seeing that video.
Well, for starters, over the last since last summer, when I actually coined that term sugar diet in my videos, I've had so many ex-carnivores get a hold of me for help, for weight loss help, because these guys, they just completely redirect it. Most people that are starting a diet, they're trying to lose weight. Like weight loss, and you've talked about it before, weight loss is king of health benefit. There's no fucking ifs, ands, or buts. And so when you got people that are in stall city, right? When you got people that are stalled out like that on that zero carb carnivore diet, and they're coming to me, like, it's ludicrous now. 50% of the people getting a hold of me for help, and not just with weight loss, like Ken Berry was running his mouth about. They just they try to distract you from the weight loss because no one's losing fucking weight. And then the people like these menopausal women, there was the menopausal women, they were sugar phobic. They were coming to me like probably 6 weeks ago by the dozens a week that were on a zero carb carnivore diet, and it just completely destroyed their thyroid function. And all I had to do is I just had to get them to cut the fat right out of their diet and get them to start cranking the sugar through the roof. Their energy came back like crazy. And like these are the hardest demographic to get weight off of, these menopausal women. And like I'm making them sexy as fuck. Like I'm their sugar daddy now. Fuck. Like they're coming to me. It's like because they know they can get skinny at like 50, 60, 70 years old. And these guys like him, they're just trying to always shit on sugar. And they never talk about sugar in the absence of fat, ever. It's always like, oh, the fucking donuts and the fucking pastries and the fucking, even Ken Berry himself. Bod Berry. Ken Berry himself, he literally says, oh, if I just look at a carbohydrate, I'll blow up. And he's talking about a fat-riddled carbohydrate, right? And they just don't understand that when you knock fat out of those carbs, like literally the biggest chunk of the world population that's the poorest, they're eating a low-fat, high-carb diet. And it's nothing new is the funny thing. It's nothing new. Almost every modality of healing since 1900, like, you had Harley on in that. He's bringing up like Walter Kempner and Hemsworth. And you look at these old modalities, Mark, of healing. It's all straight what I've been talking about lately, sugar fasting, the fucking master cleanse. It's straight fucking syrup. You know what I mean? Juice fasting, a fruit cleanse. It's all based in sugar. And I'm talking, when we're even talking about cancer, which people don't even want to get into that fucking shit. Like this is the oldest modalities for getting rid of tumors, because when you start knocking the protein out with the fat, you're creating a situation where you're cranking your metabolism up like a 5-year-old child. And if sugar was the issue, every 5-year-old kid on the planet would be riddled with fucking cancer tumors. It's a metabolic problem. And these old women that are getting a hold of me with, fibroids and uterus cancer and fucking breast cancer and all of it. It's unbelievable what happens when they cut the fat right out and start pounding in sugar to get their energy back up, and their metabolic capacity. Like I'm saying the word metabolic momentum, like it goes through the roof. Like some of these women literally are they identify to, like, I'm a 1,200 calorie a day woman. I'm a 1,300 calorie a day woman. And as soon as I get them on the sugar and get their metabolism back like it was when they're in grade 8, they're fucking burning like 1,800. That's a woman that's like 5 foot. Fuck all. Like the women that are 5'6" and shit, they're burning like fucking 2,500 calories a fucking day and not even exercising. So, that's my take on it. These guys need to, I believe what we're promoting here. And this is why I do always trust the vegans more than the zero carb community, because the vegans, even though they get pretty dogmatic with their belief system and they're trying to get you to not eat meat, they aren't lying. Like you can see when a fruitarian vegan says they're a fruitarian vegan, it's like, obviously they are. They're fucking skinny as a fucking rail, right? And, but these other guys, they're still like cheating behind the scenes. And like that whole carnivore community is just lately turning into a great big fat acceptance movement. Like all these carnivore channels are all a bunch of fucking, they're cooking channels. It's like, look at this triple threat burger, like, and no one's losing weight. And you see all these sugar diet channels popping up, sugar fasting, okay, anything, all this low fat stuff. And these people are all losing weight, you know? So what's your take on it?
Quest Nutrition was owned by a good friend of mine. He sold it. He sold it for $1 billion. It shows you how much of a sweet tooth that people have. And he did a good job. He made a lower calorie product with some protein in it and so forth. And then went on and he created another brand called Legendary Foods, which again is trying to keep the sugar low, right? And it's trying to like mitigate the calories, but still deliver something that is going to be sweet. And it just shows you how attached we are to things that are sweet. And so to me, this makes a ton of sense rather than trying to fight it so much and fight these cravings and end up in positions where we might overeat or we might cheat on the diet and all these different things. Why not just sugar fast?
Yeah,
And
you know, it's funny.
pound sugar.
You're talking about Quest bars?
Yeah, Quest and Legendary Foods and that kind of.
Brought that up because like what we're talking about here now destroys all those markets. Because as soon as you're talking about bringing the protein down and telling people that they don't even need to eat protein every day of the week, and then you're telling people sugar is good, because all they were putting in those Quest bars, because that was Tom's company. I know, like I knew, yeah, fuck my buddy that was a bodybuilder. He used to eat those out of the fucking like crazy, and his liver got fucked up from all that erythritol, all the sugar, fucking sugar alcohol. When it's nuts because people are chasing protein, avoiding sugar, and that's exactly what's fucking their health up. You know,
And I think
and
I was going to say, in terms of what Ken Berry, was sharing about like glycation and stuff, I think it'd be good if we went over some of these things. My understanding is a lot of these poor health outcomes that people have from dietary foods, they so often come from A, the person already being fat themselves, or B, it comes from the person, the overconsumption, overabundance of calories, and also the overabundance in the case of something like glycation. It's not just strictly sugar. It's happening with other things in the diet as well.
yeah, and it brings up a good point. That's why I always put the focus. I try not to derail when people get kind of nerding out on some of the science. Because one thing, if you did a chart, like if you did a graph and you showed worst blood sugar control versus best, it goes hand in hand with the fattest people versus the leanest fucking people. Lean people with high energy are gonna have the best blood sugar response. If your blood sugars are chronically high, you're gonna be fat. You're gonna have weight on you every time. And so when you focus on weight loss again, like Ken Berry always brings up another thing too. Like I'm gonna call these guys out bad here. Like these guys don't even know how to do a fucking strict ketogenic diet. So like this is what pisses me off is when Ken Dad Bod Berry is saying that he's doing a ketogenic diet. He hasn't done a ketogenic diet in his fucking life. What they're doing, he's running his mouth in his video about the sugars, like the North American, what do you call it? The fucking standard North American diet, standard American diet. When you're eating all that protein, like high protein with the fat gives you the fucking worst macro split. And that's why if you see like Sean Baker's blood sugars, they're never ketogenic. Like people, you're talking to a ketogenic expert, me. Like I fucking done crazy like ketogenic shit, right? And when you knock that protein through the floor, if you're not in ketosis 24 hours a day, you're not on a ketogenic diet. So I hate how they sell it like that, like saying keto. It's not ketogenic. That's this very strict therapy that still has a use case, probably a 1 in 100,000 people. Epilepsy, maybe a neurological problem that's usually going to be some sort of a genetic issue. But like
is that people, this is a new diet. Like I know you said people have been utilizing strategies like this for a long time, but in terms of being able to like blast sugar and being able to consume a lot, it's foreign to people. And so, of course, Ken Berry is going to be upset. Like a lot of these carnivore people, they had their day in the sun, they had their chance, they had their opportunity. And there are some people that have done carnivore diets. There's people who've done low carb diets and they have gotten benefits. I myself have lost over 100 pounds. So I'm not going to deny that sometimes those diets have some efficacy and sometimes they can work really well for people. But I think what has been in the background the whole time, the reason why people are mad, but yet so happy about what we're presenting to them is because a lot of people got effed up from this whole thing. A lot of people got screwed up. I'm one of them. You know, my blood sugar isn't great. And every time I get my blood work back, they'd always say, oh, it's because you're low carb. Like that's just normal. And I couldn't handle or tolerate carbohydrates very well when I first started this. But now I'm running like a well-oiled machine. I'm working out with intensities that I have never worked out like this before in my entire life. I'm 48 years old. People know me. They know what I some of the history. They know I ran a marathon and trained and everything. But I'm telling you, flat out, I've never. Now my response to the carbohydrates is a normal one. You're supposed to have your blood sugar is supposed to spike. Your insulin levels are supposed to go with it. And now mine are reacting in a normal way. And other people are finding this too. You know, I'm on PEDs. So people are always like, oh, it's probably just good for him because he's on PEDs and he's already lean and shredded. This is working for so many people. I'm having tons of people hit me up that are 400 pounds, 500 pounds, people that are way out of shape, people that haven't trained in years or haven't trained at all. And I'm seeing it working for a really, really wide range of people. And I think the carnivores and people that count macros and have apps and track everything, I think this is flipping everything upside down from what they believed in the past. And they're jealous of it because look at all this attention. You have 186,000 followers on your YouTube channel, almost out of complete nowhere. This channel that we're on right now was dead. It couldn't be any more dead. I shared so much information on this channel and it was just in a flat dead zone. And now look what's happening.
Yeah, and back to what you're saying. So even you, this is a good situation because you're a active guy. So when you were doing like a low carb diet, you're still active and you still press your lifestyle. Like you're putting pressure on your body to try to exercise. Now let's talk about the fat pigs that get a hold of me. Like you got like a guy that's on a zero carb carnivore diet and he's stalled at like 350 fucking pounds. Like that's insane. And he's eating and he can't. You know what? I had a guy that worked at a prison and he's a guard. He gets a hold of me. He's almost 400 fucking pounds, and he said it didn't matter how much ribeye he ate at night. He was always craving the sugar. As soon as I told him just eat the fucking sugar, and he started losing weight, and he got his energy back. And so, like, I can get anybody out of a stall that's on a zero carb diet on a straight sugar fast, straight sucrose. Anybody, and that's the funniest part. Like, and the beauty is what I'm pushing now. What this has evolved to is I teach people how to sugar fast, and then once they get lean, so you're trying to just stack up these sugar days, and like you said, the calorie intake on a pure sugar, like if you're on a sugar fast only on sucrose, like a lot of fructose, it's it's upper echelon. You can't gain weight on it. It people don't even can't get that through their head. You like a guy like you, the fucking amount of sugar you can ingest when it's pure sugar and you knock the fat and protein out is a number so fucking high that you couldn't gain weight even if you made yourself puke on the fucking sugar intake. It's insane. So like I can get people out of a stall eating in complete abundance. Like abundance. Like I'm talking a pile of fucking fruit, drinking the syrup out of the fruit. Fuck, I eat whole jars of strawberry jam for fuck's sakes. You know, smoothies, uh, you know, candy, pop. Obviously, I don't beat the shit out of my teeth with too much candy and pop, but it's fine. And you know, and I like my normal day, I haven't stayed this lean in my fucking life. This easy. And it's funny because even like yesterday, I showed people that it's so flexible when I'm sugar fasting. I can go to McDonald's. I had 2 double quarter pounders. I had I had sugar for breakfast, like green smoothie and some orange juice and shit. Then I had 2 double quarter pounders like 3 or 4 p.m. And then later that night, I told my followers, I was like, I'm gonna have some salmon today, like it's a meat eating day, because I'm not even eating meat every day. And so I told him I was gonna have some salmon and some starch. And then I was at the grocery store. And I'm like, fuck, I don't even have a fucking taste for the salmon and starch. And I had a bag of Skittles gummies. I ate the whole bag. I ate the whole fucking bag of Skittles gummies. Went to bed that night. Didn't eat nothing else. Woke up. I was fucking the exact same weight. So what I'm saying is my metabolism is so hot from the fucking the long durations of pure sugar. When I go into a day, it can be dirty. Like, I mean fucking dirty. Dirty. Like, I don't have to promote people doing a very low fat diet 7 days a week because it actually started to fall apart. Because a lot of people on YouTube right now, we talked about this. They're putting sugar diet up, which it's awesome. It's awesome that it blew up and brought the word out that sugar is good. It's not a bad thing, and it's getting rid of all that sugar phobia. But my results got next level when I started telling people to sugar fast for days on end. And then once they get lean, they can have relaxed days where they eat meat. All they got to do is get over the phobia about cutting the protein and not needing meat or even plant protein every day of the week. And then it's game over because they have so much control when they do those sugar fasts that they'll never go backwards. They'll never gain the weight back ever. It ain't fucking happening. They wouldn't let it happen. Because if you see an upswing in the weight after a wedding, maybe it's you and your wife or something go to a wedding and I don't know if you drink at all, but maybe you go to the wedding and eat the whole dinner and have a fucking bottle of whiskey. And you just jump on a sugar fast for a day or two and you're fucking still shredded.
There's a lot of confusion, that people are confused about, sugar diet, sugar fast. I just want to say, like, I'm just going to share my protocol, and then I would like you to share with the audience, like, your thoughts on it, because I think your point of view on it is really good, and people should kind of know. So, for me, on days that I'm not doing a sugar fast, or just a period of time when I'm not doing a sugar fast, I will use an intermittent sugar fast for the morning, afternoonish time. And so I'll have like a 16-hour or 20-hour sugar fasting window. That window will stop once I eat my dinner, which would be a lean source of protein. There might even be two dinners at that point. A lean source of protein and a lean starch. And then maybe I end the night, just because I like to have something sweet. I'll probably, end the night with some fruit or smoothie or something like that. And that would be my day. But I think, and I'd have approximately 30 to 40 grams of fat on that day. And I'd have 100 or 150 grams of protein in that day, since you're not normally getting protein, or not getting protein at all, sorry, when you're doing a sugar fast. And to define that, sugar fasting refers to eating honey, fruit juice, candy, maple syrup, and those kinds of things. So anything that's not those foods I just mentioned is not part of sugar fasting. And the whole thing that I just talked about there, some people were saying, like, that's the sugar. Because I've been eating like this for a really long time. So for me, I can do that day in and day out. And you've told me, some people that you work with, as soon as they throw in those starches and even throw in that protein, it can really slow them down. But even more so, the bigger problem is that if they try the smelly protocol for, let's say, like 2 weeks, they're going to have a lot of cravings built up by the end of that. They're going to probably have a lot of things that they just have on their list of shitty foods that they want to eat. So if you can take it away from there, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, so basically, like when I started running my mouth about the sugar diet last year there.
Hey, Cole, we got to pause. We got to pause for 1 second. Some people are complaining about the connection. I'm going to dump the Wi-Fi real quick. Let me come right back. Comments, let us know whether we're good from here. And then also, Cole and I are going to be answering some questions, like maybe in a couple minutes. So anyway, Cole, if you can take it away, hopefully the connection got a little bit better.
I started throwing sugar diet in the titles. That was last summer when you first got a hold of me. What I was promoting was basically a low fat, high carb diet with lean meat. Low fat, high carb diet with lean meat. So it was like lean meat in moderation, So this would have been a day-to-day routine: lean meat, fruit, vegetables, starch. And, so that got people. So I had to use the word sugar diet because the vegan community basically had almost somewhat destroyed low fat, high carb. Because soon as you would say, like, soon as you would say low fat, high carb, they would think vegan. But then when I put sugar diet, they're like, almost like, what's this? And I'm not a vegan. I always say, I'm not a vegan, baker, because he always would attack the vegans, right? So then what happened is you got a hold of me and we're talking about just routines, and that was one of the routines I would do, would be like, fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, or sugar, and then lean meat and vegetables or starch. And I'd still be like watching the scale or whatever, right? But then what happened, this fucking blew up. And people were putting all these different abortions of what a sugar diet was. And I seen right away, example, I'll tell you this, Mark. So like you already are in pretty good shape. You're trying to lose a few pounds. I had a fat guy yesterday get a hold of me, and he's watching one of your videos, and he's like, yeah, I was doing Mark Smelly Bell's fucking sugar diet routine, and he's like, fucking install city, right? Like, and then I'm like, that's when I recognized these fat asses could go days on sucrose, days. Like, and then I'm like, what I was talking about before, when we're just saying, cut the fat the fuck out of your diet, like 7 days a week, like, just keeping it clean. Look, your average person's not gonna ever stop having that McDonald's burger. Like, it just fucks up my reach. It just fucks my reach up when I'm telling people to do something that's too structured on the day and too clean over a period of time. So imagine a fat guy's doing your diet, for example, exact same way you're doing it, right? Which I fucking still do that some days, right? And they're doing it like you, and then they have a fuck up, and then it takes them like a week to get back down to the same weight they were, because they just aren't going to keep it clean. But what I've noticed with people, they can apply a tool to control the weight, and if it gives them more flexibility where they can eat whatever the hell they want on those on those meat days, we could call them, then they have so much more adherence. So basically, at this point, what people eat on the days they eat meat is none of my fucking business. As long as a weight loss coach, if their weight's not going in the right direction, I love like having a message that's this simple. If the weight's not going in the right direction, fucking sugar fast until you hit a new low. Straight up. It's just, and so I don't really, they might have to sugar fast more days if it's a little too dirty, or they have to sugar fast maybe a day or two a week if they're eating just like you, right? Or it's just pretty clean. But then, there's no like structured on the day. So you got your sugar fasting days and you got your eating days. Like yesterday, I had to show people, like, I was lighter yesterday, and it's funny. I can cure binge eating disorder with those sugar fasting days. It's funny. I didn't even want to eat more fucking McDonald's, you know, because you're not ravenous. You're not coming from a prolonged fast. You're not coming from a zero carb carnivore diet where you just eat the whole fucking store, because you've been restricting carbs for so long. You're not going into another prolonged fast thinking you got to like load up, right? It's so easy if you get rid of that sugar phobia and get rid of the mindset where you need protein every day, and you just use the sugar fasting days. Like, even you're still using the sugar fasting days yourself, and your other days are pretty clean. So if you see that your scale's going up on your clean days, like on your days where you're going sugar, meat and starch at night, which is still a very good, healthy, low fat routine. If you see a climb in the scale over a week or so, you'll know that, well, fuck, I'm not getting that big up regulation from cutting the protein and the fat out. You'll do like maybe 1 or 2 days on straight sugar in a huge abundance to basically bring your weight down where you want it. But yeah, optimally, I still want to see people eat a cleaner diet, but they're just not going to. So you got to give them something that they can control their weight with. And on the days they eat, it's really none of my fucking business what they eat on those days, as long as they're not getting fat, as long as the weight's going down. So that's kind of where the confusion is on the label. As the sugar diet label's hot, it's hot. But I had to.
What I'd like to advise.
I think we can go back on the Wi-Fi.
Oh, I think we need to go back on the Wi-Fi. Some people are saying the connection isn't. But either way, this is recording, so it'll be a call. Yeah. So one thing that I've been thinking about is like, hey, you know what? On your day off, like maybe you should adhere to some sort of protocol of some sort, like utilize maybe a small amount of intermittent fasting, or just tell yourself you're going to have like one main meal and then have some ice cream afterwards. And it could be a blowout, but like, for some people, maybe a full day blowout isn't the best idea. So I think like better is better, whatever way you can control that. But I understand there's people that have really bad relationships with food, and they're going to want to just blow it out on that whole day. And I think if they did, I think that's totally fine. And like you're saying, I agree. Go ahead and stick some sugar fasts back in there. But the years, and I remember when I first lost about 20 pounds. So I used to be 330 pounds, and now my lowest has been 206. And I did get a little bit of a rebound from my starch day, but it was only like 4 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'll be at an all-time low tomorrow morning because today was a sugar fast. But what I noticed years ago was one of my coaches, after I lost like 30 pounds, he said, go ahead and go eat whatever you want tomorrow. And I was like, what does that mean? It was almost like letting a prisoner out of prison and saying, go do whatever you like. I was like, seriously? Like, I get to go and do whatever I'd like? And I didn't even like know what to do. And then I ate like a bunch of shit that day or whatever. And then I called him up the next day and he goes, how did the fast go? Or how did the cheat day go? And I was like, to be honest, I was kind of a pussy about it because we already made so much progress. I didn't want to screw everything up. He goes, exactly. He's like, that I knew you were going to handle it that way. That's why I told you to literally do whatever you want. And I did I had ice cream and I had some cookies and stuff, but it wasn't.
Yeah. So you know what's interesting? When people are eating on those sugar fasting days in pure abundance, like I keep telling them to, it actually trains you to clean up your diet on those meat days. You won't. Here's the thing. Most people are coming from something very restrictive when they have a cheat day. Those sugar fasting days are cheat days. That's the difference. If you're listening to me and eating a pile of sugar, you won't gain a pound. Like, you're talking about you're hitting 4,000 calories of pure fucking sugar, you still weren't gaining weight. Those are cheat days. So when you go into a day where you're eating meat, it's very interesting. If I don't say anything to them and I just say, have some meat that day, you end up cleaning it up. It's not coming from a calorie count where you're trying to hold 2,400 calories on a mixed macro split where you're blatantly restricted on carbs. Then you're going into this cheat day. I'm actually seeing people, they're eating less. They're eating less on the meat days. It's something I've never seen before. And this is like in the last week because I'm telling them to eat so much fucking sugar that they're not craving sugar. So, when you would have the ice cream on your cheat day when you were with your trainer, you wouldn't even have the ice cream because you wouldn't even go down that road because you're like, you would actually want the candy, which is funny. If you switch out the ice cream with the candy, you'll actually lose weight. So anyway, that's what I'm seeing because I always just look for trends to get the most fucking weight off people I possibly can. And I'm seeing that when they're eating in total abundance on those sugar fasting days, they feel like such a cheat day that little Billy can do it. I made up this kid. He's a 10-year-old kid. Okay. That's why I always bring up little Billy. He's a fat little 10-year-old, and his Uncle Cole is trying to get weight off him without him noticing. Is little Billy going to fucking count calories? Is little Billy going to cut the fucking carbs? But is little Billy going to be able to do a sugar fasting day and not even notice it if his Uncle Cole's like, this is all we got. We're not having no meat today or whatever. And, is little Billy going to not have the cheeseburger at his friend's birthday? See, I just try to make it have crazy adherence. And so I've binge eaten. I've binge ate like fucking crazy. I've done shit where I was doing 48-hour fast eating like 6,000 calories of complete fucking trash. And I did that for 40 days straight. One meal every 2 days at a buffet. Fuck, I gave myself a fucking hernia doing that. Like, no shit. And then I healed it up naturally, by the way. But this is the first time in my life where I could stay this lean and have this much control. And even on the days where I eat the meat, I'm not even trying to go for it because I know the next day I can eat as much fucking sugar as I want and it feels like there's absolutely no restriction, even versus when you were coming off your diet with the coach. Because another thing, when you had your blowout day with the ice cream, let's say, you knew you were getting back on that restrictive routine. It's a whole different psychology. This routine, literally the sugar fasting days are like almost like cheat days. And that's why I'm getting such crazy results and people aren't even having blowouts on the days where they eat the tacos. Even, or it could be a day where they're, sorry, I don't mean to fucking go on a branch of tangent, but, or it could even be a day where they have, smoothie for breakfast. They end up going out for lunch. They have tacos. And then they end up having maybe a steak and potatoes for dinner, but they're never in that mindset where they're never restricted mentally. This is how I'll beat everybody's binge eating issues is with these sugar fasts. It's fucking nuts because you can eat so many calories. You have to puke before you gain weight on it.
Almost every you to like go underwater and hold your breath. That's what it reminds me of.
Correct.
Intermittent fasting, whatever restriction you pick, because if you're keto, you're restricting carbohydrate calories. If you're low carb, kind of same thing. If you're doing a vertical diet and you're trying to lose weight, then you're going to have to count the calories and you're calorie restricted. So it always just reminded me of like, you have to take that last big gulp, right? Before you go underwater. And that's kind of reminds me of like what you're talking about. When you go into a diet that is telling you that you can eat stuff that is so amazing, juice and apple juice and pineapple juice, like you can eat candy and all that stuff too, but like a lot of these foods, like the real food part of it, the honey and the fresh fruit and stuff tastes amazing. Like there's nothing on this planet that, and if you think of this for a minute, all the artificial sweet stuff that's been invented and created, all of it has been invented and created to taste like some of the natural foods that we're eating now when you're eating things like dates. So many of the things that, the high fructose corn syrup, it's like an attempt to match how sweet fucking maple syrup is or how sweet some of these natural sugars are. And then people have a weird thing about, whether the sugar is natural or not natural. But look, again, all that artificial sweetening stuff, all the fake, quote unquote fake sugars, all it is trying to do is trying to mimic nature, because nature made stuff so perfect. Again, honey, maple syrup, and even like a date. A date is so sweet that it's out of control.
Which is funny because
Everybody's complaining about the connection.
Okay. A lot of complaints about the connection, but we'll just keep chatting.
You're clear when you talk. It just breaks out. You're clear. But like even Harley he talks about that a lot because a lot of people, the fruit was so sweet when you can get the best fruit, for example, and you have to add table sugar to it. You know what I mean? You have to add the sugar to it. And then you can make it sweeter. But that's why everyone's like, oh, I run into this all the time. They're like, it's going to be healthy sugar, right? And I'm like, yeah, table sugar, you fucking idiot. You know what I mean? People are always like, I'm like, you can get shredded on high fructose corn syrup. Like, people just don't even understand high fructose corn syrup. I just wanted to say a comment here. So Arthur says, Cole is right. He's right. I am going through this myself. I'm almost grossed out with sugary foods, especially on non-sugar fasting days. You don't even chase because, and another thing too, instead of grabbing at the ice cream, once you know and you've done this for a while and you learn the skill set, you'll like grab at the bag of candy or the bottle of pop. You won't eat 1,000 or 2,000 calories of ice cream. It ain't happening. That's exactly what happened to me last night. After I ate those burgers at McDonald's, I had a bag of candy for a bedtime snack, and I was lighter on the scale. It's something I've never seen until this last 3 weeks. That's exactly one of the reasons why I have so much confidence in the sugar fasting. Because yeah, like and Yeah, and like I keep telling people too, so like you're getting pretty lean as well. So some of the people, the fatter they are, the micros can be almost non-existent. That's why fat people can fast on 0 calories for like weeks on end, but it's obviously like there's no adherence and it's like just a death. But people need to make sure they get in some potassium source sugar. Like people get so ridiculous. Like you can't just have just syrups and candy. There's no micros at all. So like orange juice or some sort of smoothie, I tell them to bring the volume down so they're not bloated up, and then use the jellies and the syrups to bring the calories up so they're actually hitting their true satiation. Like so they're not watering it down. Like watermelon's almost useless. It's just you have some watermelon, but it'll dilute it so much. But people need to definitely get in some potassium because I think that's what happened to you a little bit. Because it'll almost, when you have a pile of sugar in one shot, it'll almost act like a little bit like a diuretic, and you'll piss out what you're not really using. If you get low on potassium, you might end up having heart palpitations just like you would on a fucking 0 carb diet where you haven't got in enough salt, or a prolonged fast. So people need to definitely still chase the potassium a little bit, and just keep the sodium rock bottom. Especially I'm talking fat people here like you're just chipping down slow right now. But some of these fat people are gapping down on weight. Like I got people losing 2 pounds a day, like crazy weight loss. You'll lose more weight, like for the calories in, calories out crowd. You'll lose more weight on a 30-day sugar fast than you will on a 30-day water fast. And I have experience with long water fasts where you'll actually start to plateau on the weight loss because your metabolism tanks. And plus the adherence is so easy. Like some of these people could go 100 days, easily go 100 days on smoothies, fruit, canned fruit with syrup, juice. Like people need to get out of the short sighted mindset with like a 2 or 3 day sugar fast if they're really fat. They need to be learning how to really do it. They need to be doing like massive amounts of days in a row. The more days in a row, the better. It actually gets easier, and then that's gonna make them not restrict. Because if I put a gun to their head and I'm like, you got to go through 30 days. Like that same mindset that like the juice fasting crowd had back in the day. They want to lose weight, some of them, but they're more about getting to the goal of the number of days. If you have the goal as the number of days in a row on the sugar fast, you will not restrict because you'll be like, how do I get to the next day? Or Cole's going to blow my head off if I don't make the next day. So it's just a different mindset. Instead of being so short sighted with just the weight loss, you still want to log the weight, but that's going to set you up to go more days in a row, and by nature you won't restrict. And once you get that sugar fasting tool in your back pocket like you're an expert, once you do get lean like where you're at, and you have your perfect sugar day dialed in, like any day that you're going to eat sugar, you have it dialed into where this works good for me at breakfast, this works good at lunch, this works good at dinner, and you're not restricting, where that sugar fasting day is just like another eating day where it's a joke. It's fucking game over. You'll never gain weight back ever.
With this diet, this protocol, I believe that you're able to eat like 7, 8 for a really short period of time if you're depleted, and if you're on like a diet for a long time, your metabolism kind of lagging, and then that kind of boosts your metabolism back up a little bit, and you might see some weight loss. But this happening way more long term for people. And
So I've never ever seen something where your metabolism would stay this ramped up on the way down. Nothing. Nothing. So if you're doing like a 0 carb diet or a mixed macro split where you're just counting the calories like a hawk, and say the weight loss, say I'm at 2,400 calories, the weight loss stops, and I got to go 2,300, 2,200, 2,100 on like more of a mixed macro split, my metabolism tanks. I've never seen something where you could smash in crazy calories and the metabolism still so fast and you're still cutting weight. You can literally starve yourself to death in abundance on the sugar. It's unreal when it's an absence of fat and protein. And then what happens like on the week, My weekly calorie burn right now to hold this body weight, I'm about 8% body fat, 164 pounds. I can literally eat like 3,400 calorie a day average. That would be what I'm averaging over the week. And to hold this weight on a regular macro split, I'd have to do cardio to hold this weight at 2,400. Like the calorie burn's off the charts.
Yeah, this connection for some reason on my end, I think it's hard for people to hear me, but you can hear me okay, right?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, as long as you can hear me, I think we're fine. So we're just going to keep recording, but I'll ask you questions, Cole.
Yeah.
So here's what we'll do in case my recording isn't good or whatever. Ryan's going to read a couple of questions because we had a couple from the super chat, and if you'll just have you answer them. I won't even really answer them. We'll just have you talk about it, and then we'll close it out in a little bit. I think there's like 4 or 5 questions.
2 super chats.
There's 2 super chats.
Okay.
So Jeff Power says, I would prefer to use fruit honey for sugar fasting. Is it doable that way without doing candy, table sugar, and processed sugar? So lower glycemic.
Yeah, the only problem is if the fruit volume gets too high, and if you're using dried fruit, can have too much fiber and it can bloat you up. So if we're talking about the scale dropping, okay, we're trying to make the scale drop. The scale's dropping, good. The scale's not dropping, you might be knocking back too much fruit, so you're bloated up on too much fruit volume, and you have to add some hard-hitting sugars to that to bring the calories up, or you'll starve yourself half to death, and you'll never feel satiated on just the fruit. Like, for example, I was trying to talk even the price. Like a watermelon here's like 20 bucks. A large watermelon maybe is 800 calories. And people are like, oh, I'm eating watermelon and I'm not fucking satiated. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, go buy a jar of jam and pound the whole fucking jar of jam back, right? People don't have to eat candy if they don't want to drink pop. But I'll tell you right now, if you want to feel flat and ripped. You don't want to be bloated. So, like, there's a lot of fiber in the dried fruit. It's not the calories so much in the dried fruit, it's the fiber that can bloat you up. Too much wet, like natural fruit will bloat you. That's why I like the canned fruit with the syrups. If you're having like frozen fruit, drench it in fucking table sugar. Like if you're having a bag of frozen mangoes, double up the calories with table sugar. You know, people need to get in more fucking sugar. And also, don't snack. People should be having like a normal structured breakfast, pound in sugar. Don't be bloated up, but good amounts of calories. Lunch, dinner, or maybe a breakfast and a dinner. Sometimes I just miss lunch. But like the syrups with the canned goods, if you're going to have fresh fruit, you need to amp up the sugar. Like that sorbet ice cream's got some sugar in it. You know, another go-to, my go-to is usually orange juice I'll pound in just to get a lot of potassium. I'll pound in apple juice. It's good for the liver, good for your gallbladder. I'll pound in green smoothie, not crazy amounts, just to get some micros from that. And then I'll usually up the calories with like jam. So that's what I'll do for breakfast. A whole jar of jam, maybe some honey, and I'll have orange juice and green smoothie for breakfast. And it's like I'll pound in like 1,200 calories of straight sugar. And then at lunch some days, maybe I'll have candy, or maybe I might miss lunch. Hard to say. And then at dinner, I'll always have the peaches. I'll have a little more fruit volume at dinner, but I'll have those canned peaches with the syrup. They're like, and I'll have like dinner, 1,600 cal. Usually on the day on my sugar fasting days, if I'm eating intuitively, meaning I'm done, I'm just done, I'll probably be at about 2,800. But if I try, like I got a force feed down there if I'm going, or have for sure 3 meals if I'm going over 3 grand, but that's how I do it. So you just don't want too much volume because it'll fuck with the scale and you'll get bloated up. Because I see people saying, oh, I'm farting too much on fruit. Well, fuck, you don't need all the fucking fruit. You need more sugar. And then the fucking farts smell like fucking sunshine and rainbows anyway, so who gives a shit?
The density of your food, I think, is really important. It's good to sometimes use volume as a strategy to like fill you up, but you also need density. And if you don't have the caloric density, it's actually going to manifest probably a day or 2 down the road, and that's what's going to really lead to cravings. There's people that are on this diet that are still trying to count their macros and they're still trying to count their calories. I think they're making a huge mistake. Throw that shit out the window. There's really no reason to track. If you want to track just for, I guess, the sake of making sure you're eating enough calories, then that's a little bit different. But if you're trying to track and be in a caloric deficit, you don't do that with this diet.
Yeah, if you're throwing the sugar fasting days in, that's the whole point. You don't got to count shit. And then even on the days where you eat your meat and stuff, because you're in so much abundance the day before and the day after on the sugar fast, you're going to be eating a very and plus your calorie burn bar is so much more elevated. So for example, if I was eating 2,400 calories to maintain this weight when I'm restricting on a mixed macro split, like a 3,200 calorie day, I'm going to be at literally like 800 calorie surplus. But when your metabolism's this wrapped up like a 10-year-old kid, you go into a dirty day and you burn that off. As long as you're not doing those dirty days with the high fat mixed macros like for 100 or 365 days again in a row. You just always control those sugar fasting days. And you're right. Like a lot of people, if you feel hungry, you're not hitting enough. You should hit some seriously hard hitting sugar at the start of the meal. People should stop starting their meal with the fruit. Have almost the fruit like it's a treat if you're gonna have fruit, and always get some water in the morning and before your meals. And some people, if they got gut problems, I have a lot of people coming off zero carb carnivore, their guts are all fucked up. So like obviously don't go pounding in a pile of wine gums and shit on if your guts, if you have an issue. But people, if they drink some water, knock back some hard hitting sugar to really kill the hunger at the start of a meal, and then have the volume after, rather than having you know what I mean? That works good. Like hit some, because that's going to kill the craving, give your liver the fructose that everyone's scared shitless of. You want the fructose. Some of these guys can eat so much fucking starch. That's where I knew there's a problem. These guys, 400 pounders, they can put starch back and they're still fucking hungry for fructose. So like just give them the fucking cans of peaches, ram them down their throat and they're laughing.
Next question.
Schaefer Healthcare says, I am around 248 pounds at 5'11". I'd like to get down to around 210 or 215. I do lift consistently, but I'm probably around 20% body fat. What kind of protein intake would you recommend on off days? How many sugar fasts per week?
So right there, you got to get tunnel vision, get lean. Just the amount of muscle you'll lose, even if you're an experienced lifter, the amount of muscle you would lose would be like a 50-to-1 ratio. So people just got to focus on getting lean. Okay, get to where you can do fucking like body weight training. Get to where you do fucking body weight training. Exactly. Look at him. Okay, he's been fucking not having any protein multiple days a week. Multiple days a week. So just the most important part is get through a long sugar fast so you develop that skill. So a guy that's got some serious weight on him, 10 days, 15 days in a row, like just sugar, and don't worry about it. Just don't beat the shit out of your muscles with the weight training, like with a bunch of fucking volume. Okay, just tap the muscles, stick to body weight work, focus on some cardio, get in fucking shape because your cardiovascular is going to go through the fucking roof. Like me and Mark talked about that, like how much better shape you get in. It's not like weight training's a fucking joke. Let's get real. I come from a cardio rack background, boxing, swimming, hockey when I was a kid. When I went to lifting weights, sometimes I'd hurt myself because you're trying to literally get cardio out of the weight training. And even if you're a power lifter, it's even worse. You got to be fucking deliberately lazy as fuck when you're a power lifter so you can recover like fat fucking power lifters. But anyway, this guy, so the question, get through that long sugar fast. Don't be afraid. And then when you start getting down to where your body comp you're at, you like, then just eat. Just eat, have your meat days and control the scale. Go by intuition. On the meat day, you might want more meat. You might want less meat, but you don't need meat every day. And if you get over that phobia and you're over your sugar phobia, the sky's the limit how lean you can get. You just got to throw the sugar fasting in to maintain whatever weight you want to maintain.
Next question.
Okay, Bushidoki says, for sugar fasting, am I drinking juice all day like the Master Cleanse fast, or am I doing breakfast, lunch, dinner thing?
So what I've done is see all those protocols are so strict. Like we're not doing a juice fast. We're not doing a Master Cleanse, which is straight fucking syrup, right? It's the mechanism was always sugar. So it's funny how many people would do a Master Cleanse even for 100. Some of these people would do 100 days on fucking syrup, which is impressive to be honest. If you can do a 100-day Master Cleanse, what I'm telling you to do is going to be a joke. But all of it is, the mechanism was sugar. Master Cleanse, sugar fast. Juice fast was a sugar fast. Fruit only, sugar. So that's why you have variety of sugar sources. You got your fruit, you got juice, you got fruit, you got smoothies, any sugar sources that come in the form of sucrose. And then just 3 squares. And you'll never have to snack all day because the density is way higher. The only reason these people on a juice fast have to drink juice all fucking day because you only got like 100 calories for every 250 fucking milliliters. So you starve yourself half to death. Same with on the fruit, right? So that's why you got to bring your syrups in, your table sugar, your honeys, your jams, and still have your nutritionally dense fruit sources and sugar sources, but just bring in more of the fucking dirty sugar sources, the fucking shit that's gonna kill you. Sugar's gonna kill you. Okay, and then just keep it to 3 squares or 4 meals or 2 meals might happen, and just get it in. Don't snack. Kill your hunger. Carry on with your fucking life.
Yeah, you should get yourself hungry. Got another question there?
Yeah, Rachel Petty says, what is wrong with consuming table salt?
Nothing. But it's just salt. People are so paranoid about the salt, but like with right now, you just need the sodium to be low because it's not like you're on a prolonged fast. This is why this put me out of business. Like people still support me and buy some snake juice salt because they need a packet maybe every fucking 5
Hey, I
days.
still use it. I throw it in apple juice, and it's amazing. It makes the apple juice like a little fizzy. Because your product has potassium in it too.
Yeah, there's a lot of potassium, but like I'm not gonna bullshit people. Like the fucking sodium can be basically rock bottom, and unless you're a really fat person, if you start seeing the scale gap down, you're probably if you see a crazy gap like 8 pounds in 2 days and shit, that's when you probably need some sodium. But you make sure you chase potassium sources in, like sugar sources with some potassium. But you just don't need all the sodium like you would on your fucking zero carb carnivore diet or the prolonged fasting because your fucking kidneys and shit are actually going to hold some fucking electrolytes because the sugar makes you actually hold the salt rather than just dump it, which is why that's a whole nother, like even the element packets, like fuck. There's not even any potassium in the element packets for literally if you're buying element packets, you might as well be getting fucking salt from McDonald's. The McDonald's salt packets, like it's just a waste of money.
Cole, what about drinking Gatorade just because Gatorade tastes good, like regular straight up Gatorade?
Yeah, if I was gonna have, but that's the thing, it's a ripoff, right? Because there's no
Yeah,
sugar
of course,
in it.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you're gonna get Gatorade, you might as well fucking get might as well fucking put fucking table sugar in it to fucking actually make it sweet. Like there's no like a whole bottle of Gatorade is like what, like 100 calories of sugar? Like it's a complete ripoff, right? And the amount of electrolytes in it is really nothing as well. For somebody who was sweating like a pig, like on a bicycle ride or something. That's why all the poor cyclists, like when you had Harley on here, is perfect because these cyclists have been pounding in table sugar for fucking years. Like I'm talking like 500 calories of table sugar every hour, like 100 grams an hour, So like all these, even the Monster drinks, like if Monster came out with a drink that was just double the sugar and cut all the fucking stems, but then why get that when you just buy a fucking pack of fucking wine gums? It's fucking nuts. That's the thing. There's no money in what we're promoting. That's why it hurts their fucking wallet so bad. That's fucking crazy.
With Durian Ryder, he when he was on the show, he said sometimes he just walks into Starbucks and takes a couple sugar packets and walks on out. He's like, I got the perfect energy.
Well, that's the thing. If you're like in a pinch too, if you want to swing by McDonald's at lunch, grab 2 smoothies from McDonald's. Perfect. Or like it's just that's the thing. You can't sell people sugar when it's just pure sugar candies in the store. But I can't stress that enough that a lot of people when they're actually craving sugar and they go buy the milkshake or they're going and getting the cookies. Fuck, all you need to do is go buy a bag of fucking sugar snakes, 2-headed snakes or wine gums or fucking gummy bears. And it's not like some of the fucking meatheads haven't been using gummy bears for fucking pre-workout forever. But the problem is, this is like an epidemic with these fucking pre-workouts. Some of these guys, and the thing is, you got no real energy. You're just fucking high as fuck on caffeine and shit. You got no real energy, but the energy drinks got some sugar. But then people are buying the energy drinks that are fucking low sugar. But the sweeteners in it, for fuck's sake. What a waste of fucking money.
Got another question?
Yeah, Sherry Morgan says, how do you start sugar fasting when coming from carnivore? I'm not trying to lose weight, looking for more energy and digestion.
Just start. So just start. Just have breakfast. If your gut's a bit fucked up, like even Mark was saying, like don't just hit the candy hard if your fucking guts, if you have a bad microbiome. You got your smoothies, add table sugar to the smoothies is good. Make sure you're still drinking a good amount of water to dilute some stuff out. Okay, you got your fruit, you got your smoothies. You definitely want some hard-hitting sugar, so you're going to have to find something you can handle that's got some hit, which you're going to be able to handle table sugar like fuck all, throwing it in the smoothies, throw table sugar in the juice. Like you just don't restrict. Don't restrict. Big hit of sugar at breakfast, but don't let yourself be bloated up. And then, like, breakfast, lunch, dinner works perfect. Don't go to bed hungry. If you wake up in the middle of the night hungry, get in more sugar. Just try to keep it at least strict during the day. Don't snack. Like, it's one of the worst things people can do is snack on like 100 measly calories of fucking sugar at lunch. If you're hungry at lunch and you're going to eat anyway, don't have 100 calories of sugar. Get in like 6 fucking 100 calories if you're a woman, and like 1,000 fucking calorie sugar bomb if you're a man. And even if, like, who can't go to McDonald's and get 2 of those fucking smoothies that's 800 calories and then and tell them to give you some fucking sugar added to them to bring it up to 1,000? Like, most people's stomach isn't not going to have any issues with those McDonald's smoothies or a smoothie from the store, which you can buy smoothies at fucking 7-Eleven. So just, if you got a gut ache, just don't be pounding in, because anybody that gets a hold of me with a gut ache, it's because of candy, and they're doing it on too, like, it just hits them too hard. It's just too dense. So you need water if you're going to be eating a bunch of candy, or if you have gut problems.
Is there any more questions?
Yeah. Lester says mice make FGF21 within a couple hours protein restriction. Humans need 7 to 10 days. So persist with sugar and stop the protein. Protein immediately shuts down FGF21.
So yeah, the FGF21 stuff, it's cool, and we've talked about it, but it's just a small part. Your energy output is going through the fucking roof in general, right? You're obviously your insulin sensitivity, and even just your whole, the whole loop. Like, even there was a guy you talked about that was pretty smart he was talking about the insulin signaling and how people just don't have any fucking idea how much the blood insulin levels are so high, but there's no signal, and basically it just sits in the blood because it's been there so long. It's almost the same as the leptin feedback system, the leptin feedback loop. Fat people have leptin in their blood at high amounts for so long, the brain doesn't recognize it. So when they start losing weight, it wakes it back up, and actually, it'll actually kill their hunger versus always keeping it ramped up, because it's like a hunger hormone issue, right? But that guy was talking about, the high blood insulin levels, and the insulin just sits there. And the worst part is you have a type 2 diabetic that's still eating a bunch of fat, not pure sugar. They get on insulin. They get on insulin because it's like just more fucking insulin that's still not going to do its job. It's ludicrous. That's how you turn somebody into a type 1 diabetic. That's what burns out your fucking pancreas, not giving you sugar in the absence of fat and protein. Okay, that's like, people keep talking about this pancreatic burnout. What burns it out is your diet is so high in fat, and you're so fat, the pancreas is just pumping insulin, and it thinks it's not getting used. It just pumps, but you're not using it up.
Yesterday I did I did the sugar fast throughout the morning, and then after my workout, I dove into some starches. I had some frosted flakes, and then the rest of the day was great. It was just like a free day. I ate some normal meat that I like to eat. I have like these carnivore crisp things that I like a lot, so I ate some of those. And then later that day, I had pasta. I had some sourdough. And I choose to eat lean meats when I'm eating like that. And so I had, a decent amount of starch. I did go from 206 in the morning to 210 in the morning, but that's not a huge shift for a guy my size, a couple of pounds. It was really just a water swing, I think, more than anything. And what I think is going to happen with me, I think most of the time, probably when I go to those starches, when I go to that cheat, I think I'll see a little bump in body weight, but I think then I'll experience a new low. Every single time I think that I titrate up, at least that's been the trend so far, my body weight goes up. And then it not only just goes down, but it will kind of slam down. It won't just be like a pound. It might be like 3 or 4 pounds. So I think within the next week and a half or so, I'm going to hit that 200-pound goal that I've had for a really long time, and be down from 330 pounds to 200 pounds. And then hopefully from there, I can kind of, make a plan that is going to allow me to kind of stay in the weight that I want to be. And the plan is simple. Just whenever my weight ticks up, probably over like 205 or 210, I'll just sugar fast.
Sugar fast for 2 whole days or a 1 whole day sugar fast, and then you end up having it's so easy. And then also, I just want to make a point because people being, oh, this is for athletic people that train all day like Harley, blah. I literally have been so fucking busy this last 2 weeks. I haven't done any fucking cardio. None. None. And I'm a small guy. I'm 5'7", 165 pounds. I'm fucking averaging way over 3,000 calories a day. There's nobody my size that'll be averaging that kind of a calorie burn with no fucking exercise. Not a fucking chance. And so for super fatties, when they're sugar fasting and it's straight sucrose, they can lay on the fucking couch and lose weight. I just want to make that clear because people think as soon as they hear sugar, they think cardio, cardio, cardio. Like, no, not when it's pure sugar. The starch will have a different response because there's protein there. The starch is straight glucose. So you're going to need a lot more insulin to clear the blood. Where with the fructose, it hits the liver, and the liver really is a mechanism that really wraps your metabolism up. And so, no one's getting fat drinking pop. Fat people people could try me. Orange juice for your potassium, strawberry fucking jam, and fucking pop. Do that for 5 days. I guarantee you anybody will break a stall. Fucking pop gets you shredded.
Diet plan that we have going here, Cole, the diet that you created, the sugar fasting is bullshit because we don't have a doctor behind it. So we need to recruit, let's recruit you and I, maybe put some money together because we know that he could probably be bought. So let's put a little bit of money together and let's see if we can purchase Ken Berry and have him start to change his channel more to talking about sugar.
You know what's actually funny, just to hit that on the head? I've had at least 4 or 5 pharmacists get a hold of me in the last 2 weeks for a phone consult. Fat bastards selling, and they get a hold of me. They're like, fuck, you are blowing my fucking mind. They're telling me. They're like, they didn't teach us this in school. We're fucking been selling them all these fucking blood sugar lowering drugs. And
Right.
these guys are some of these guys have fucking crazy amount of fucking a formal education. I got none. But the thing is, I experiment so fucking hard. I'm always looking for the results. And then you know how it goes. People get so fucking caught up in looking for studies. A lot of the studies are the new studies. It's broken science. It's a lot of biased bullshit. Anything that says sugar's bad is bullshit. I actually mentioned on a live the other day. Where's the fucking study when they are going to isolate sugar and pound it down the human throats and see where the fucking top end is? They haven't done that. Pound straight sugar down their throats and you'll see a calorie count that'll blow your fucking mind because it's already been done by a bunch of rats like me. Okay, I got guys getting a hold of me from old Ray Pete forums that was taken down. One guy that got a hold of me was eating 6,000 calories of fucking straight sugar for days on end, and he was skinny as a fucking rail. Right? So it's the getting it done motherfuckers like you, me, guys like that just always are looking for results that really lead the science. And then the nerds start geeking out on the results and then the science follows. But the science is always 5 years way behind the guys getting the results. Especially with the way the internet bias the information. I would put up a fucking video talking about sugar for 2 hours straight. And then there'd be a Ken Dad bod, very, very fucking ad right afterwards. Oh, fucking low carb. Fuck.
One or two more questions, and then we'll pop on out of here. So don't ask any more. Don't do any more super chats, guys. We're not going to answer any more after this next one or two.
There's a lot of people.
Bushidoki says, will Cole bring back the whiteboard? Professor Cole.
Probably not. The reason I got rid of the whiteboard because I seriously got rid of all my possessions and it was just something I kept having to drag around. So, my fucking new office is I just fucking make videos and shit in my truck because it's just so convenient. But yeah, I used to have the whiteboard and I'd be have different diet protocol names and shit. And if I made a video right now, it'd be probably Ken Dad Bod Mary on the whiteboard. Fucking, yeah, you fucking. What happens when you cut fat out of your diet? You only have protein and carbs left, and carbs are going to make your fatty liver worse, he says. Fucking Jesus. Fucking Christ.
We got any more?
Okay, Zach Trejo says, do I have to eat protein after lifting?
No, what I'm telling people, focus I'm a weight loss coach. So if you only got like fucking 3 pounds to lose, like Mark, okay, obviously gauge your strength training and shit, and don't be tearing your muscles up like crazy, even though you're gonna have ludicrous levels of energy. Don't be tearing your muscles up on a fucking 7-day sugar fast. It's just common sense. And if you're worried about it, then don't sugar fast as fucking hard. Obviously, your weight loss won't be as fast, right? But you definitely could, once you get lean, you focus your hard workouts right around maybe your days that you eat meat or whatever, and then more cardio based on on a long sugar fast. But honestly, if you're gonna, you wouldn't even need to, eating protein the next day would be good enough if you trained hard on the sugar fasting day. I don't even watch that. I don't even pay attention to it. Once you're lean, anybody at a drop of a hat, I could do any activity, and I'm not counting calories across the fucking board like everybody. Like, that's what kind of life is that to live? Like living on a mixed macro split, counting 2,400 calories a day across the board. So somebody wants to take you for a bike ride, or like maybe you go out with somebody and they want to go for a really long hike, but oh, I'm only limited to fucking 2,400 calories. Like, you're fucked, and then you're starving to death because you got to hold the 2,400. What I'm teaching is complete intuitive eating. It's unbelievable how easy it is, and you can stay ripped. Your body just, it works perfect. You'll eat according perfectly to your activity level. It's perfect.
Thanks for hopping on here today, Cole. Really appreciate it, man. People hope people got a lot out of this. Catch you later, man.
Thank you. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Later. All right, everybody. I'm hopping out of here. Strength is never weak. This week is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.